The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Law 1. Never outshine the master. Always make those above you feel comfortable, superior. In a desire to please or impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends, and learn how to use your enemies. Be wary of friends. They betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. They also become spoiled and tyrannical. But hire a former enemy, and he will be more loyal than a friend, because he has more to prove. In fact, you have more to fear from a friend than from enemies. If you have no enemies, find a way to make them. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Keep people off balance and in the dark by never revealing the purpose behind your actions, and if they have no clue what you are up to, they cannot prepare for a defense, and guide them far enough down the wrong path, envelope them in enough smoke, and by the time that they realize your intentions, it'll be too late. Conceal your intentions. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. When you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear and the less in control. Even if you are saying something banal, it will seem original. It will make vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like, power-like. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The more you say, the more likely you are to say something foolish. Always say less than necessary. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Reputation is the cornerstone of power. Throughout the reputation alone, you can intimidate and win. Once it slips, however, you are invulnerable, and you will be attacked on all sides. Make your reputation unassailable. Always be alert. Potential attacks and throw it off before they happen. Meanwhile, learn to destroy your enemies by opening holes in their reputations. Then stand aside and let public opinions hang them. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Court attention at all costs. Everything is judged by appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the crowd, then or buried in oblivion. Stand out. Be conspicuous at all times. Make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, more mysterious than a bland, timid masses. Court attention at all costs. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Use the wisdom, knowledge, and the legwork of other people for furthering your own cause. Not only will such assistance save you valuable time and energy, it will give you the godlike aura of efficiency and speed. In the end, your helpers will be forgotten, and you will be remembered. Never do yourself what others can do for you. Get others to do for you, but take the credit yourself. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. When you force other persons to act, you are the one in control. It is always better to make the opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans and process. Lure him with your fabulous gains, then attack. You hold the cards. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Win throughout your actions, never through argument. Any monetary triumph you think you have gained through an argument is really a Pyrrhic victory. The resentment and the ill will stir you up in a stronger and last longer than a momentary change of opinion. It is much more powerful, and it gets others to agree with you through your actions without saying a word. Demonstrate, do not explicate. Win through your actions, never through argument. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. You can die from someone else's misery, emotional states, and infectious of diseases. You feel that you are helping or drowning. If you feel that you are helping the drowning man, but you are only precipitating your own disaster. The unfortunate sometimes draws misfortune on themselves. They will also draw it on you. Associate with the happy and fortunate instead. In infection, avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Infection. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. To maintain your independence, you will always be needed and wanted. The more you are relied on, the more freedom you have. The more people dependent on you for their happinesses and prosperity, and you have nothing to fear. Never teach them enough so that they can do without you. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Use selective honesty. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Once sincere and honest, you will cover the dozens of dishonest ones. One sincere and honest move will cover over dozens of dishonest ones. Open-hearted gestures of honesty and generosity brings down the guard of even the most suspicious people. Once a selective honesty opens a hole in his armor, you can deceive and manipulate them at will. A timely gift, a Trojan horse, will serve the same purpose. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Law 13. When asking for help, Appeal to the people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. And if you need to turn to an ally for help, do not bother or remain him for your past assistance of good deeds. He will find a way to ignore you. Instead, uncover something in your request or an alliance with him that will benefit him and emphasize it out of all proportions. He will respond enthusiastically when he sees something to be gained for himself. Law 14. Pose as a friend. Work as a spy. Knowing about your rival is critical. Use spies to gather valuable information to keep you one step ahead. Better still, play as a spy in yourself and be polite in social counters. Learn to probe as indirect questions to get people to reveal their weaknesses and intentions. There is no occasion that is not an opportunity for an artful spying. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. All great leaders since Moses have known that feared enemy must be crushed completely. Sometimes they have learned this in hard ways. In one ember is left a light, no matter how dimly it smolders. A free will eventually break out. More is lost through stopping halfway than through total annihilation. The enemy will recover and will seek revenge. Crush him, not only in body, but in spirit. Crush your enemy totally. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Too much circulation makes the price go down. Much more seen than heard from, or more common appear, and if you are already established in a group, temporarily withdraw from it. It'll make you be more talked about, even more admired. You must learn when to leave. Create your value through scarcity. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror, cultivating an air of unpredictability. Humans are creatures of habit with an insatiable need to be familiarized with other people's actions and other people's actions, and your disability gives them a sense of control. Turn the tables. Be deliberately unpredictable. Deliberately unpredictable. Behavior that sees, hear, have no consistency or purpose will help them off balance, and they will wear themselves out trying to explain your moves. Taken to an extreme, this strategy can imitate and terrorize. To keep others in suspended terror, cultivating an air of unpredictability. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. The world is dangerous and enemies are everywhere. Everyone has to protect themselves. A fortress seems the safest, but isolation emphasizes more dangers than it protects you from. It cuts you off from the valuable information. It makes you conspicuous, and an easy target. Better to circulation among people. Find allies, mingle. You are shielded from the enemies by the crowd. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. You are shielded from your enemies by the crowd. Law 19. Know who you are dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. There are many different kinds of people in the world, and you can never assume that everyone will react to your strategies in the same way. Deceive and outmaneuver some people that they will spend the rest of their lives seeking revenge. They are wolves in lamb's clothing. Choose your victims and opponents carefully. Then, never offend or deceive the wrong person. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Do not commit to anyone. It is a fool who always rushes and takes sides. Do not commit to any side or cause by yourself. By maintaining your independence, you become the master of others, playing people against one another, making them pursue you. Do not commit to anyone. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than you mark. Seem dumber than your mark. No one likes stupider than the next person, and no one looks stupider than the next person. The trick then is to make your victims feel smart. And not just smart, but smarter than you are. Once convinced of this, they will never suspect that you may have ulterior motives. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When you are weaker, never fight for honor's sake. Choose surrender instead. Choose surrender. Surrender gives you the time to cover, time to torment and irritate your conqueror, time to wait for his power to wane. Do not give him a satisfaction of fighting and defeating you. Surrender first. Surrender tactic. It's by turning the other cheek you infuriate and unsettle him. Make surrender a tool of power. Surrendering is a tool of power. Concentrate your forces. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Conserve your forces and energies by keeping them concentrated at their strongest point. You gain more by finding a rich in mine and mining it deeper than by flitting from one shallow mine to another. Intensify. Intensity defeats extensity every time. Intensity defeats extensity every time. When looking for sources of power to elevate you, find the one key patron, the fat cow who will give you milk for a long time to come. Concentrate your forces. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. The perfect courtier thrives in a world where everything revolves around power and political dexterity. He has mastered the art of indirection. He flatters, yields to superiors, asserts power over others in a more oblique and graceful manner. Learn and apply the laws of courtship, of courtiership. Apply the laws of courtiership, and there will have no limit to how far that you can rise in the court. Play the perfect courtier. Law 25. Recreate yourself. Do not accept the roles of social face on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience, the one that's in your own imagined rather than letting others define it for you. Incorporate dramatic devices into your public gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced. Your character will seem larger than life. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. You must seem paragon of civility and efficiency, and your hands are never soiled by mistakes and nasty deeds. Maintain such a spotless appearance by using others and scapegoats and cat pawns to disguise your involvement. Play on people's needs. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cut-like following. People have an overwhelming desire to believe in something. Become the focal point in such desires by offering them a cause, a new faith to follow. Keep the words vague but full of promise. Emphasize enthusiasm over rationality and clear thinking. And emphasize the enthusiasm. It gives your new disciples rituals to perform. Ask them to make sacrifices on your behalf. In an absence of organized religion and grand causes, your new belief system will bring you untold power. To play on people's needs to believe, to create a cut-like following. Law 28. Enter in action with boldness. If you are unsure of a course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts and hesitations will affect and infect an execution. The timidity is dangerous. Better to enter with boldness. Enter the action with boldness. Any mistakes you commit through an audacity and are easily corrected with the more audacity and audacity. Everyone admires the bold. No one admires or honors the timid. Enter actions with boldness. 29. Plan all the way to the end. The ending is everything. Play all the way into it, taking to the crowd of possible consequences, obstacles and twists of fortunes that might reverse the hard work and give them glory to others. By planning to the end, you will not be overwhelmed by circumstances, but you will know how and when to stop. Gently guide fortune and help determine the future by thinking far ahead. Plan all the way to the end. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Your actions must seem natural and executed with ease. All the toil of practice that go into them, and also all their clever tricks must be concealed. When you act effortlessly. Act as if you could do much more. Avoid the temptation of revealing how hard you work. It only raises questions. Teach no one your tricks, and they will be used against you. Teach no one your tricks, or they will be used against you. Control the options. Get others to play the cards you deal. Control the options. The best description are one that seems to give the other person a choice. That's the best description, is the one that seems to give the other person a choice. Your victims feel that they are in control, but they are actually your puppets. Give people the options that come out in your favor, whichever one that they choose. Force them to make a choice between the lesser of the two evils, both of which serves your purpose. Put them in the horns of the dilemma. They are gored wherever they turn. Put them on the horns of a dilemma, but they are gored wherever they turn. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. The truth is often avoided because it's ugly and unpleasant. Never appeal to the truth and reality unless you are prepared for the anger that comes from the disenchantment. Life is so harsh and distressing that people who can manufacture romance or conjure up fantasies are like oases in a desert. Everyone flocks to them. There's a great power in tapping into fantasies of the masses. Play to people's fantasies. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness, a gap in the castle wall, a weakness usually in an insecurity, an uncontrollable emotion, or a need. It can also be a small secret pleasure. Either way, once found, it is the thumbscrew that you could turn to your advantage. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. The way you carry yourself will often determine how you are treated. In the long run, appearance vulgar and common will make people disrespect you. For a king respects himself and inspires the same sentiment in others. By acting regally and confident of your powers, you make yourself seem destined to wear a crown. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Never seek to be in a hurry. Hurrying betrays a lack of control over yourself and over time. Always seem to be patient, as if you know that everything will come out eventually. Become a detective of the right moment. Sniff out the spirit of the times, trends, and carry out to the power. Learn to stand back when the time is not yet ripe, and to strike fiercely when it has reached fruition. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is for the best revenge. By acknowledging a pretty problem, you give it existence and credibility. The more attention you pay to the enemy, the stronger you make him. The small mistake is often to make it worse and more visible. When you try to fix it, it is sometimes best to leave things alone. If there is something you want but cannot have, show contempt for it. The less interest you reveal, the more superior you seem. So disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Striking imagery and grand symbolic gestures create the aura of power. Everyone responds to them. Stage spectacle to those around you, then full assessment of visuals, radiant symbols, heightens your presence. Dazzled by appearance, no one will notice what you are really doing. Create compelling spectacles. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. If you make a show of going against the times, flaunting your unconventional ideas and unorthodox ways, people will think that you only want attention and that you look down upon them. They will find a way to punish you for making them feel inferior. It is far safer to blend in and nurture the common touch. Share your originality only with the tolerant friends and those who are sure to appreciate your uniquenesses. Think as you like, but behave like the others. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Anger and emotion are strategically counterproductive. You must always stay calm and objective. But if you can make enemies angry while staying calm yourself, you can gain a decided advantage. Put your enemies off balance. Find the chink in their vanity through which you can rattle them and you can hold the strings. Stir up waters to catch fish. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. What is offered for free is dangerous. It usually involves a trick or a hidden obligation which is worth paying for. By paying your own way and staying clear of gratitude, guilt, and deceit, it is often wise to pay the full price. There's no cutting corners with excellence. Be lavish with your money, and keep it circulating, for generosity is a sign of a magnet of power. Generosity is a sign and a magnet of power. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. What happens first appears better and more original from which comes after. And you succeed in a great man's, you have an infamous parent or a famous parent. You have to accomplish double their achievements for an outstanding or outshining them. Do not get lost in their shadows or stuck in the past if not your own making. Establish your own name, your own identity by changing a course. Slay the overbearing father. Disparage his legacy and gain power by shining in your own way. So avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Trouble can often be traced to a single strong individual, stirred and arrogant, underlining the prisoner of the goodwill. If you also allow the people's room to operate, others will succumb to their influence. Do not wait for the troubles they cause to multiply. Do not try to negotiate with them. They are irredeemable. Neutralize their influence by isolating or banishing them. Strike at the source of the trouble, and the sheep will scatter. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Coercion creates and reactions will eventually work against you. You must seduce others into wanting to move into your direction. A person you have seduced becomes your loyal pawn. And the way you seduce others is to operate on their individual psychologies and weaknesses. Soften up your resistance by working on their emotions, playing on what they hold dear and what they fear. Ignore the hearts and minds of others, and they will grow to hate you. So remember the hearts and minds of others. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with a mirror effect. Disarm and infuriate with a mirror effect. The mirror reflects reality, but it's also a perfect tool for a deception. When you mirror your enemies doing exactly what they do, they cannot figure out your strategy. The mirror effect mocks and humiliates them, making them overreact. By holding up a mirror, it's their psyches. It shows their psyches, seduces them with the illusion that you share their values. By holding up a mirror to their actions, you teach them a lesson. Few can resist the power of the mirror of effect. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. Everyone understands the need for change in the abstract, but only on a day-to-day level. Day-to-day people are creatures of habit. Too much innovation is traumatic. It will lead to revolt. And if you are new to a position of power or an outsider trying to build a new base, make sure respecting the old ways of doing things. Make sure a show of respecting the old ways of doing things. It changes the necessary. Make it feel like a little gentle improvement on the past if a change is necessary. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Appearance better than others is always dangerous. But most dangerous of all is to appear to have no faults or weaknesses. Envy creates silent enemies. Envy creates silent enemies. It is a smart and occasional display of defects and admits the harmless and devises in order to deflect envy and appear more human and approachable. It is a smart and occasional to display defects and admit to harmless vices in order to deflect envy and appear more human and approachable. Only gods and dead can seem perfect with impunity. Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for in victory. Learn when to stop. The moment of victory is often the moment of the greatest peril. In the heat of victory, arrogance and overconfidence can push you to a past goal from which you've aimed for. And going too far, you make enemies than you defeat. Do not allow success to go to your head. There's a substitution for strategy. Careful planning. Set a goal, and when you reach it, stop. Do not go past the mark you've aimed for in victory. Learn when to stop. Law 48. Assume formlessness. By taking a shape, by having a visible plan, by opening yourself to attack, instead of taking a form of your own enemy to grasp, keep yourself adaptable and on the move. Accept the fact that nothing is certain and no law is fixed. The best way to protect yourself is to be as fluid and formless as water. Never to bet on stability or lasting order. Everything changes. Assume formlessness.